Let's get into our team selectors then, Ian. I'll come to you first. I think we can all agree that Alisson will be in goal, Robertson and Trent will be the fullbacks. But what's the interesting sort of situation for you at centre-back? Who do you think Jurgen Klopp might favour?
So we're not saying Kelleher, no.
I did think about Adrian, but I changed my mind.
Adrian has disappeared at the face of the earth, hasn't he? What's happened to him? Anyway, because he wasn't even there at Aston Villa, was he? He wasn't the third sub. It was the Brazilian guy's name escapes me. Pitaluga, yeah, he was there. So anyway, yeah, I think Alisson might start. Centre backs. Well, one of them will be Fabinho. Matip if he's fit. I think Nat Phillips plays against Burnley, definitely. So it's between Williams and Henderson, and I'd be minded to play Henderson there. I'm going to play Henderson there. And I know you missed the midfield, but we'll come to the midfield and then I'll be able to explain that. Henderson.
Yeah, I'm with you, actually. I think it will be Jordan Henderson in there. I think the midfield then becomes a little bit more interesting as well. But, Gorsey, I'll come to you next on your two centre-backs, presuming you agree, of course, on the full-backs as well.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it? I agree with Doyley wholeheartedly in terms of Nat Phillips starting against Burnley on Thursday. But then I just think moving Henderson out of that midfield area just has too much of a knock-on effect. So I'd be minded to go with Reece Williams and just think that Liverpool's midfield is going to be too good for United and they're going to see too much of the ball for United, hopefully, to be a threat for a significant period where they can kind of expose Williams in maybe a one-on-one situation that we've seen against Sheffield United, but no, not Sheffield, at West Brom. So Carl and Grant towards the end. If Liverpool can kind of protect Reece Williams, then I'd put him in alongside Fabinho.
And David, where do you sort of stand on this one? I think it's probably a straight choice, isn't it, between Williams and Henderson? I suppose you probably wouldn't want to go for Nat Phillips in this one.
No, absolutely. I think it is Williams or Henderson. And I'm going to agree with Doyley whilst also disagreeing with him, because I think, obviously, you touched on this earlier. You said basically that midfield is absolutely massive in these games, and I agree with that. So I disagree with your selection in that I think that maybe Reece Williams should start to allow Jordan Henderson to be in the midfield. I think, obviously, we're worried about if you do put one of the young lads in, they're not quite as quick as a Joel Matip, for example. And obviously, Joel Matip is fit by some miracle, then he does start, obviously. But I think basically, if you centre halves, the pace they've got, the recovery pace. If you were putting anyone in a position where Marcus Rashford is running in the opposite direction, in behind them, you've got no chance anyway. So the key for me is stopping those balls coming from the midfield and locking down that area and absolutely dominating that area, keeping possession safely and sort of moving the ball around and not allowing United to get the ball in an area in the centre of the park, look up for Rashford going in behind or Martial, because that's once they get into that position, you're done for anyway, regardless of who you've got as centre half. So I think the key for me would be maybe putting Reece Williams in there and then protecting him by closing the ball down constantly, making sure that United don't get a second to play that passing behind.
Yeah, I think that could be important, couldn't it? Not just keeping possession, but making sure they press and make sure that United can't play through them and expose those players. So with that in mind, Doyley, talk us through your midfield.
Well, obviously, if Matip's fit, he's playing. So therefore, Henderson goes in midfield. But I'm assuming, obviously, he's not going to be fit. So Henderson's centre-back. Now, you could, if you wanted to get Shaqiri in, you could play 4-2-3-1. That would throw United for about 10 minutes. And then they'd get their way around it. It was basically the same as what happened at City, wasn't it? When Liverpool went 4-2-4 and then threw City for about 15 minutes, scored. And then, City got their heads around it. So, but I don't think they'll do that. I think it'll be Wijnaldum and Thiago. I also think the third one will be Milner. I think Milner's got a part to play in this one. I was tempted to put Jones in, but it wouldn't really seem fair, would it? I don't think. I think he could be somebody, could be an impact player a bit later on in the game if they need him along with Shaqiri. So I'm going to go with Milner, Thiago, and the Widge.
Yeah, again, I'm absolutely with you with that. I think James Milner in these sorts of games is perfect for that. Gorsty, who are you going to go for in the centre of the pitch?
Well, since I've got Reece Williams at centre-back, I'm going with Henderson and Wijnaldum, who the Iron Men, aren't they? They seem to play pretty much every game. And then Thiago. I was thinking about Shaqiri and doing what Doyley says with a with a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-2-4, however you want to look at it. But I just think Thiago is just as creative in a different way to Shaqiri. He's not kind of he's not going to rack up 10 to 12 assists each season, but it's kind of the pass before the pass, if you like. And I just think having him in that midfield will just keep Liverpool on the front foot, and he can pick whatever pass he wants to that front three.
Any chance for Curtis Jones, David? I mean, he's obviously played well in big games before for Liverpool. He's played a lot of matches this season. Do you think he could start?
I think he'd absolutely love to, and I don't think he'd be scared of the challenge. But I think for this one, I think Jurgen Klopp's sort of mind's made up by who's available, and if he does go for Reece Williams, like I suggested, I think I'd go with the same midfield as Ghosty there. Is you get Henderson, Wijnaldum, and Thiago, which looks very strong, a really balanced combination. I think if you do get Henderson and Wijnaldum in those sort of double 8 positions, and Thiago is the deeper midfielder taking the ball off the centre halves, then that gives you a lot of options in terms of progressing the ball up the pitch, and also having Henderson there on maybe the right hand side of those 2-8s, giving Trent the license to bomb on and hopefully sort of refine his form. So I think he's struggled a little bit lately. That could be a massive part for Liverpool in the game, because they do need those deliveries from out wide. I think that's been lacking from Trent a little bit recently. So hopefully we can get that right hand side combination going again, and that can pay dividends for them.
Did you just say double 8?
Yeah. I'm just it's just tactical chat.
Sorry, Brendan.
Well, in front
At least
of
I'll
those,
call from wing halves.
The best ever Brendan Rodgers shout was somebody was a 11.5. So we were like, hang on, is he like he's on the way to the bench or something?
That's where I would play. Yeah.
and with all those midfields in line, then I suppose that just leaves the front three, which I suppose we'll all be in agreement with those: Salah, Mane, and Firmino. So that being the case,
hang on.
No,
hang on.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. But on a serious point though, who could you bring in? Minamino did okay against Palace, but then wasn't particularly great against Villa. Shaqiri, he's not a starter, is he? As Lynchy said, I don't think he's certainly not in that front three. And Origi, he's kind of, I mean, it would be surprised if we didn't see him, play very much again this season, I think. But I don't know, it's a tough one. It's got to be those two. And the interesting thing for all of us chatting about, if Matip was fit, we'd all pick exactly the same team, wouldn't we? And I think United know that. And I think Liverpool can kind of guess United's team. So this, they both spent all of this entire, preparation period. So I won't knowing what they think the other team's going to get pick. So I wonder whether it's Solskjaer, whether it's Klopp, just throws something out there that's just like, hang on, nobody saw that one coming, and maybe that could make a bit of a difference. But I don't think they will.
If you were going to do that, though, there's not, as you say, that many options, is there? I mean, apart from a 4-2-3-1, I mean, what other sort of out there things do you think that Klopp could do?
I suppose he could play 3 at the back. I don't know. Could play wing backs, but he's only done that once, hasn't he? Or was it against Brighton? So I think Man United, while they're not the greatest team in the world, I think they might be better than Brighton were.
He could be looking to start James Pearce if he wants to win a penalty. If he wants to
bring him on in the second half if they're 1-0 down. Just get him up there towards the Kop. All the banners will be intimidatory to the referee, the way that they flutter in the breeze. But actually, that's a serious point though. With there being no fans, that's going to work in United's favour, isn't it? Because you ask any United. I did an interview which you'll see on the Echo website on Saturday night with not just me. It was a roundtable interview with Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher, and that was brought up, and Neville was like, yeah, I mean, whenever we went to Anfield, we knew it was the toughest game we'd ever have. That's no secret. It's the same for any Manchester United player. So for them to go to Anfield and there be, the two main obstacles for them are one, the team, and the other one, the fans. For one of the main obstacles to not be there, it's a massive bonus for them. And I think Liverpool, at times this season, perhaps away from home, they find it hard to motivate themselves. I mean, look at the Villa game, 7-2. That would never have happened if there'd been people in the stadium. I think they've got over that now. And I think, to be fair, United had that problem as well when they lost to Tottenham on the same day. I think the teams have kind of got over that, but they are missing that kind of extra bonus. And there's the fact that Liverpool in the last 3 home games did have fans, even if it was just 2,000. It's going to be weird for the players going out there. And while, There were, Ghosty will agree, but there was the Wolves game, wasn't it? The first time when they went out, it was just 2,000. It sounded like it was about 20 or 30,000, and it was you could tell it just lifted the whole team, and in a certain way, it actually lifted Wolves as well because they felt like they were in an actual game. And so, while it will affect both sides, I think United will be the main beneficiaries of there being nobody there.
Yeah, certainly it's going to be a strange one. And with that in mind, I suppose it's really quite difficult to make our match predictions, but we will do that. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I think a draw probably for both sides is not the worst result in the world. And if we got to 70 minutes all level, certainly Solskjaer would take that. I would imagine probably Jurgen Klopp would as well. But Doyley, I'll come to you first, then Ghosty, and then Lynchy. I mean, how do you think this game is going to pan out?
I think the arguments over the celebrations and whether players can hug, we saw this on Thursday night, I think will stifle the players. They will be scared. There will be no goals. But then in the last minute, Manchester United will get a penalty from VAR, which they will then miss. And the rebound will come out, and Sadio Mane will run clean through and get taken out. And referee will give a penalty, and then VAR will give a free kick to Manchester United for a foul on De Gea. There you go. So it can't get any more precise than that. 0-0 is the short answer to that.
A very exciting 0-0 by the sound of it.
Last minute is very exciting.
Lynch, he's always like this,
Hang on a minute, yeah. I may be like this, but I'm the only one who said that Man United had a chance of winning the league back months ago. So I was right about that.
This is on record now.
I've played half the season. It's going to be. I disagree with you there, Matt. I think Liverpool have to win this game because Manchester United, although you might not think that the genuine challengers at the moment after 17 games, certainly Doyle does, but they are there because of what they've done in those games, and Liverpool can't be relying on other teams to take points off them. So Liverpool have got to show up and know that they're a better team, a better bunch of players, and win because they're at home and the onus is on them. So a draw is a hugely disappointing result for Liverpool. They've got to go and win, and I think they will, 2-1.
Yeah, it is an interesting one. All I meant in that was that it's still tight. And I think at some point, Manchester United will have their drop. They'll have injuries. They'll have something that goes against them. I don't think it's quite happened just yet for them so far this season. But Lynchy, just finally then, before we finish, your verdict on the game and a score prediction.
Yeah, it's probably not going to be as exact as Doyley's, to be honest. But I think, I just cannot imagine that Liverpool's sort of poor run of form can continue any longer. I think they're going to be absolutely bang up for this. They want to make a point. It's Anfield where they don't lose. I think it's going to be tight. It's going to be difficult, but I expect Liverpool to win. I think maybe an early goal and then a late goal, sort of similar to last time. Maybe another 2-0 win for Liverpool.
Yeah, certainly. I'm sure Liverpool fans would take that. I think that just about brings us to the end of today's podcast. We'll be back with the next Blood Red show on Monday, looking back at one of the biggest games of Liverpool's season and hopefully a Liverpool win too. For now, though, from myself, Matt Addison, from Ian Doyle, Paul Gorst and David Lynch, until next time here on the Blood Red channel, thank you for watching and listening, and goodbye for now.